Governor Ned Lamont's new gun safety bill also tackles domestic violence. The proposal would ban people with domestic violence convictions from obtaining a firearm. Channel 3 Eyewitness News reporter Olivia Schuler joins us now live from Waterbury, where a discussion about this bill is going to take place. So good morning, Olivia. Break it down for us.
Hey, Roger. Good morning. Well, that legislation is proposed by the governor, what he calls common sense measures that would protect victims of domestic violence. Now, there will be a 10-day waiting period stopping someone from purchasing a firearm. And now, although domestic violence would be an immediate disqualifier to obtaining a pistol permit, the bill would also require safe storage of weapons in all homes, regardless of who has access to the home. The entire gun safety bill as a whole was more than 70 pages and tackles more than just domestic violence. On the docket, laws to also prevent accidents, crimes, and suicides. Now, Lieutenant Governor Susan Bysowitz will be at the Safe Haven here in Waterbury at 10 a.m. She'll be joined by other statewide leaders. Reporting live in Waterbury this morning, Olivia Schuler, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.